So I'm going to show you the non-traditional way of starting your business. This is, let me call it, the fake it till you make it business. This is how we're going to start the business until you can actually get to those steps.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
What's up, icons? It's the iconic fashion figure. And I know a lot of you guys want me to take it back to the basics so that way you can learn how to start your business. If you've already started and you're confused on your next steps, this video is going to help you guys out. And I'm also sharing with you guys a wholesale vendor. So you're going to actually get a full review on the vendor that all of you can use because this is a no license wholesale vendor. So today I'm literally going to take you through steps of starting your business, but not the traditional way, because I know for the most part you guys have watched a million videos. I've even done one too, giving you those traditional steps of starting a business where it's telling you, register your LLC, create your website, open a business bank account, all those steps. But I know either a lot of you have already done that and you still don't know what to do next, or some of you, because you're on a tight budget and you can't afford to do the registration, you're stuck there because you're waiting to get the money so you can do those first steps before you move to the next. But honey, let me tell you, you don't need to wait for that. Start anyway. So I'm going to show you the non-traditional way of starting your business. This is, let me call it, the fake it till you make it business. This is how we're going to start the business until you can actually get to those steps. So fake it till you make it, step number 1. Know what it is you want to sell or offer. I can't tell you how many people I have worked with thus far that'll tell me they want to start a business but have no clue what type of business they want to start. So that's step number 1. We need to start there. What is it you want to do? Are you selling clothing? Are you selling accessories? Are you offering a service? Is your clothing going to be men's, women's, kids, plus size? Are you doing shoes? Are you going to be doing nails, makeup? Figure out what it is that you're doing. You have to have that idea first. You can't say I'm starting a business and have no idea what it is you want to start. If you don't know, you're not ready yet because you need to figure out what it is you want to do. I'm being brutally honest with you guys. Don't take it as being harsh, but you do need to know what it is you want to do. Otherwise, how do you start a business and you don't know what you're starting? So fake it till you make it, step number 1. Figure out what it is that you want to do. So this example here today, I'm clearly doing clothing. I know I want to sell women's clothing. The look that I'm going for, since I technically planned this all out in January, I knew that I wanted to be up and running by springtime. So I knew for my clothing brand that I wanted to start, I wanted to be very feminine, flirty, yet chic and trendy. Like I knew I had this idea of what it is that I want to do. I knew at that time of planning that I am going to do women's clothing. So this is like jotting down some ideas of what it is that I want to do, but that's the direction so far that I know I want to go in. So that's the start. We know we're going to sell women's clothing. I know I'm on an extremely tight budget and I don't have much money to put in this. So it's going to be a select few pieces, but that's okay because it's still possible. I know a lot of you guys get stuck because you're like, I don't think I can start a business with just 1 or 2 pieces and that's all I can afford. That's all you can afford. That's what we're going to start with. So figure out what it is you want to do. You know your budget and what you're capable of doing right now too. Even if you have a $0 budget, keep on watching because we're still going to get this started. Figure that out though, step number 1. And in today's video, this video is in partnership with Shewin. That is our wholesale vendor for today that I'll also be doing the review on. And Shewin is an online apparel platform that sells both retail and wholesale, no license needed. And they own their own factory and supply chain. So if you guys are looking for a wholesale vendor to truly partner up with, Shewin is one of them. That's why I wanted to do this review for you guys today, especially for those of you that are at the very beginning trying to figure this out. And Shewin offers a bunch of different styles and they have accessories. There's plus size. So I'm going to get more into that once we get into actually figuring out the product. Because our next step, which is a pretty easy and quick step, I know most of you guys think these steps are going to drag out for months. No, this was all planned out for me in the month of January. This was all done in January because my next step was to figure out a realistic deadline of when I wanted to launch all of this. Now I knew I wanted to be up and running as quickly as possible. My goal was to have this up for a spring collection. And since I started planning this out in January, I knew I'm coming up to tax time. That's when people got money. That's when people are spending money. So I wanted this up and running by tax time. So I told myself by February 15th, so mid-February, I wanted to be up and running. Now, when I set those deadlines, like I said, said be realistic, things happen. So to pad that deadline, I said by the end of February at the latest, because most people start getting their tax returns in February anyway, for those that file right away. But you have some people that are still getting it in March, some people don't get it till later. So as long as I'm up by the end of February, that is ideal for me. And that would give me, I had all of January and then all of February if needed, but if I can get it up by mid-February, that would be best. So I'm setting that realistic deadline so that I can make this happen, and it's also giving me something to work towards. It's forcing me to do this because I know now I have a tight deadline, so I gotta get going on this. Set that deadline. That's fake it till you make it step number 2. Fake it till you make it step number 3. You need to come up with a name. Now, this is not going to be fake. Come up with a real name that you want to use for your brand that eventually you'll register. And in this step, even though we may not be registering yet because you don't have those fees that your states are requiring you to register with, you're at least still going to go to your state's website, check to see if that name is available for when you are ready to register. You can go ahead and register your name. Now, of course, if you can afford to register now, go ahead and do it. But again, this is for those of us that are truly starting out. You may not have the budget. You're not even sure if this is for you, so we're going to fake it till we make it. You don't need to actually register right now. I'm going to be the first person to tell you go ahead and forget about the registration right now. We're just going to focus on getting set up. So just research your name. Make sure it's available with your state. Make sure it's available on any social media platforms you want to use. Check the domain name. Make sure that's available for when you're ready to buy the domain and register your website. You want to make sure that name is available to you. Also pay attention to if you were to Google that name. What comes up when you Google that name? Is there some bigger brands that are always popping up first? Because if you do end up registering a name similar to some bigger brand, they're most likely always going to come up before you, and until you figure out your SEO, you're going to be bottom of the list. So you want to try to make sure you have a name where you can get top of the list, that there's not a bunch of other businesses that are taking that traffic away from you. So pay attention to the name. You don't have to register it right now, but do that research on your name in step number 3. Now we're going into step number 4, which is going to be selecting the product that we're selling. Now, the biggest tip that I can give to you when selecting your product is make it cohesive. I've said it multiple times in videos, but especially for those of you that are only selling a few products, you want to make it cohesive to the brand idea that you came up with in the first step. So I know I told you guys in that first step, I wanted something feminine and flirty and fun. I knew that on my deadline, it would be during tax time, which is normally springtime. People are buying spring clothing, Easter clothing. They're going to be outdoors. The weather is going to start getting better. So I'm thinking about all of that when I'm selecting the items. So literally, as I'm on the Shewin website, selecting my items that I want to buy, which by the way, Shein has feminine flirty. They have Western boho chic. There's, again, I said plus size. They have accessories. So I went on their website and I would literally just drag and drop images of the items that I was interested in, and I would put them on a blank canvas, so usually like Word or Pages, to line up those pictures and see what looks best together. The reason you do that is when you're branding yourself, when we get to that step, we want to make sure you actually look like a well put together brand. You want to look professional. We're faking it until we make it, but we still need to come off as professional so people take us seriously. So I'm putting those images together and I'm narrowing down what items I'm going to get. So when I was selecting my products, I knew that I was getting 6 products in total. So I had to be able to narrow this down to 6 products because that's what my budget could afford. Which, by the way, all 6 of these samples along with shipping cost about $120. They do offer Klarna, so you can break it down. But once you select those products, I do recommend buying samples. So that is what I have here today for you. But we're going to drag and drop those pictures and we're going to eliminate things and move things around until we can figure out what looks best together. So that's what I came up with today. I got my spring look because I have those spring colors in there. My fabrics are lightweight, flowy fabrics because it still gives off that feminine vibe, and they're perfect for spring. I have a range of products. I have this top that I'm wearing, which is a satin top. I have this dress right here, which is like a blazer dress. So I can wear it as a dress, or it can be thrown over another item like another dress to make it look more like a blazer. It ties at the waist. It's a wrap dress. This is something I can wear to dinner. I can throw this on and wear it to work if I need to because it is long sleeve and it is long enough that it covers my legs so it still comes off professional. That's another thing you want to pay attention to when selecting your items, especially if you're offering limited items. They need to be able to work together and make sure they're like versatile, because in this economy, that's another thing you're thinking of when you're making that buy. Can people afford this? Who are you actually targeting? What type of income income does your target market have? Because they need to be able to afford these pieces, which I can tell you Shewin, for the most part, everything's affordable on there, so you can still mark it up and resell it to someone. But I need to make sure the people I'm targeting, they can afford it. I can tell you right now, with this economy, people want more for their money. That's why I try to find pieces they can wear in different ways. It can be worn to work, it can be worn to brunch or dinner, it can be worn in different ways. This color here particularly might be a spring color, but it's not too muted where I can still wear it as a summer color too. I knew in the beginning when I did my planning, I wanted to do seasonal collections, so that's why everything right now is spring, but it may not work for fall. Or this I could probably pull off as fall, but maybe not, like this purple may not work. Think about those things. If you're someone that's not going to do seasonal collections where you're continually launching new product, then you might want to go more neutral colors. But those are things that I'm thinking of and I'm paying attention to when I'm selecting my items. So we got this dress here that I can wear also as like a blazer. This here gives off Easter, it gives off spring, it can kind of work for summer too. I actually thought it was a dress. It's actually a romper that has shorts underneath. It ties in the front and it has like this keyhole. I actually, when I first got it, I put it on backwards and had the tie in the back so I can wear it a couple of different ways. This one's more going to strictly be for spring, not very versatile, but it gave me a piece that actually popped with everything else. So we had to have that like one fashion piece in there that truly popped. But again, still fitting my theme. It's feminine, it's flirty, it's spring-like, which is what I was looking for. Then this one is actually a dress. This one's not a romper, but again, fits the whole spring, summer, flirty. The fabric is loose and flowy. It's lightweight for those hotter days in the spring, summer time. It's flowy at the bottom, which gives off that feminine look. It ties, it has a low cut, which actually I can wear it backwards as well. I did that also. I can dress this up with some heels. I can wear it with sandals. So again, still going along with my theme, and it works cohesively with everything that I have here. And you guys will see later in the video why I'm doing that. Then we have this maxi cardigan. Again, very lightweight fabric, but something to throw over my shoulders. So let's say I wanted to wear this top that I have on right now to work. This is something I can throw over to cover my shoulders to make it more appropriate for work, and then now it looks like I just have a blouse underneath. I can actually, because it has slits on the side, tie this, which I'll show you guys the outfits later on. I can tie this and make it look a little more casual, so if I wanted to wear it out, I can. I can wear this as a beach cover-up, so if I wanted to put a swimsuit underneath, because it is kind of sheer and it is lightweight, so if I want to throw this on as a cover-up, I can. And then it also completely buttons in the front, so if I just wanted to wear it as a dress, I can even do that. Then we have the jumpsuit that's on the mannequin right now. Again, more of a fashion piece, because the jumpsuit you can't really change and it is printed, but we can take this cardigan and that's something that can be worn over that jumpsuit, so if I needed to wear that to work, and then I can take this off if I'm going out for a drink after and just have my heels on with it. And then when you accessorize outfits, which is something you'll want to do for your customers so they can see how to wear this, then the accessories will help determine what you're doing. Are you just going to throw this on with sandals and it's going to be a day outfit while you go shopping? Are you going to put heels on and go to lunch or brunch in this? Are you wearing it to work and throwing a cardigan over it? Think about those things when selecting your items. Now, one of the main reasons I like to do cohesive collections is because I need to be able to upsell. I'm trying to make as much money as possible. So when I offer this jumpsuit to a customer, I can show them that I can pair with this cardigan. When I offer this dress, I can show them how they can wear that dress as a blazer too. So you want those cohesive collections, because now I can try to mix things. This romper technically has this color green in there. If I wanted to put that underneath it, wear that blazer over the romper. Like, so many ways you could just think of it. If I wanted to contrast and put that blazer on with this top, if I had the right shoes and accessories for it, can make that work too. So you want to come up with items that you can mix together to give customers a reason to buy more. That's how you're going to make more money. So that's fake it till you make it step number 4. You're selecting the items you want to buy. You want to make sure they're cohesive. And at this step, I highly recommend buying your samples right now too, once you narrow down on those pieces that you want to buy. So for me, I knew I wanted 6. So this is when I went ahead and placed the order for the samples that I needed. The shipping from Shewin Shewin took about 2 weeks. So that was perfect because I did this towards the beginning of January. And in that 2 weeks, while I'm waiting on those samples to arrive, I can start working on the next steps until those samples get there. Because then they'll get there just in time for when it's time to do the photo shoot, which is later on. But fake it till you make it step number 5. That is when we're going to do the logo and the branding and all of that stuff. So you've already came up with your name. You've already done the research for it. We now are waiting for the samples to come so that way we can actually launch. While we're waiting on those samples to arrive, we can create our logo, get that out of the way. We can start creating the branding. I gave you guys a brand page template that you can use. So you can go ahead and start putting that together. Start branding yourself. Figure out the colors and your aesthetic of your brand so we can start putting that together. That's something that can be done while we're waiting on the samples to get there. Something you're going to have to do anyway. Now when it comes to creating your logo and the branding, use Canva if you have to. If you're in a very tight budget and you can't afford to pay someone, use Canva to create your logo. You guys know I'm always talking about Canva. Or if you have some income where you can pay someone else to do it, you can pay someone to create that for you. But create your logos is going to be step number 5 while we're waiting on the samples to arrive. Fake it till you make it step number 6. Step number 6 is going to be coming up with ways that you can start marketing your brand. Along with trying to come up with a cohesive collection that you're going to be selling, the marketing is going to also be key in you trying to sell. I hear from a lot of you guys telling me that you started your brand, you bought your product, but you haven't really made any sales. A lot of times that is because of the marketing. People don't know you exist. So even though you haven't launched a website yet, you technically haven't bought your inventory yet for those of us that are not drop shipping, you still want to start marketing. So now you need to start strategizing ways to market your brand because you really need to get the name out there. Now of course you don't have product yet, but find other ways that shows off your brand's aesthetic so that people can just know that you're out there. It even can be word of mouth marketing where you're telling people that you're about to do this and have them help you spread the word. So that way when you launch, you already have some type of audience built up. There's so many people that start a brand and have no audience built up at all, which means you have no customer base. So who exactly are you going to sell to if you haven't even started building up a customer list? You just launched a brand and no one to sell to. There's this misconception of when you're starting an online business that once you launch a website that you're just going to start getting traffic. I am going to be the first one to tell you that is not going to happen. Please don't expect that. That will not happen. You are not going to just put a website on the internet and start making money. It is not that easy. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. When you're creating this website, you still have to hustle, and that is going to be huge in these steps that I'm giving you. This whole fake it till you make it process is going to require for you to hustle. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you that just because you follow these steps you're going to make money. I'm a brutally honest person. I'm going to tell you you're about to be broke and you're not going to make any money. You're going to invest money and lose it because you don't have the customer base to actually buy it from you. Sorry if it sounds harsh, but I'm being realistic with you. You have to actually market your brand. If you're not marketing it, people don't know you exist. You got to let people know. And don't think it's just going to be friends and family. Yes, you can tell them, but it's really hard to run a profitable business just off of friends and family because they might support you once and then never buy again. They'll do it just to say they did it for you, or they're usually the ones that's looking for something for free or a discount, and it's hard for you to make money when you're giving everything for free. So you have to market your brand so that people know you exist. You can do this free if you don't have the budget to pay for marketing. Of course, paid is going to be the faster way to get the traffic that you need, but I did it for free. You can do it for free too. It just takes a little longer and it requires more time. Remember, time is money. So if you ain't got the money, you got to put in the time. So go ahead, take the time and actually push your brand. Be annoying as you can possibly be when it comes to talking about your brand. Every conversation you have with every single stranger that you come across, talk about your business. Let them know that you have a clothing business out there. You see someone that looks like they're the type of person that will wear your clothing, let them know about your brand. You have to be annoying with this when you're not paying for marketing because you are your marketing at this point. Do what it is you have to do to get your brand out there. Strategize. Use social media if you have to. We all know there's billions of people on social media, and in the beginning you might only get 1 or 2 likes. Who cares? Keep doing it because eventually those 1 or 2 people that like it are going to turn into your customers. So just keep going. Don't let that discourage you. Remember, we have to hustle if we're not paying for all this stuff. We don't have $1 million to throw into a business right up front. We're not one of those kids that grew up in families that everything is just handed to them. If you're watching my channel, more than likely you're not one of those. So I can already tell you right now, we have to hustle. This is coming from a person that built their business from the ground up completely by themselves with no money, because I was on unemployment when I started. So trust me when I tell you, you can do this. It's just going to require a lot of time and effort from you. So that fake it till you make it step number 6, is that the step I'm moving on now? Because I just did a lot of rambling to you guys, but I'm keeping it real and raw with you. Come up with ways to market your business, whether you're going to pay for it or if it's going to be free. So now let's go into this next step, step number 7. That is going to be creating your website. I've given you guys the video on how to create a website completely for free on Canva. You don't have to pay for anything there. I've given you the video on how to create a website completely free with Weebly, especially for those of you that are drop shipping. You can do that. Now with Shewin, if you want to use Shopify, and especially if you're going to drop ship, you can import the products right from Shewin into Shopify. They have it integrated with Shopify. Unfortunately, they only list the Shopify as their integration, but I've shown you ways to work around that, or you can just manually list the product, especially if we're taking our own pictures anyway, which I highly encourage you to take your own pictures. So now we're going to create the website. You may have gotten your samples by the time you get to this step, depending on how quickly you're moving in your steps. You may not have your samples yet, but that's okay. Figure out your layout, put everything else on there. That way when the samples come, you can actually go ahead and import your pictures. At least everything else is already done. Now by the time we get to fake it till you make it step number 8, which is going to be the photo shoots, the samples should be there by now. I'm hoping you have your samples by now. For those of you that have bought samples, some of you may not be able to afford samples and you're skipping that step. That's okay. We got to do what's best for you. You know your situation better than I do. But our samples, for those of us that bought samples, should be here by now. This is when we're going to do photo shoots. Again, I just mentioned, I highly encourage you to take your own pictures. So please take your own pictures. And there's several ways you can do your own pictures. I have a mannequin. So if you have a mannequin, start with taking pictures on a mannequin. When I first started out, I didn't even have this mannequin that I bought on Amazon. I bought a mannequin off of, I think, Craigslist at the time, when Craigslist was somewhat safe to shop on, but you have like OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. There were some stores in my area that were closing too, and they were getting rid of their equipment that they had in the store. They had mannequins, so I got lucky and got some for free. But as time went on, I upgraded. This is why I call it the fake it till you make it, because we're doing the bare minimum right now just to get up and running, and then we'll add on and we'll grow from there. We got to do what we can afford to do until we can get to where it is we want to be. Take them on mannequins if you have to. Take pictures on hangers if you have to. Set up the collection how you will want to see as a cohesive collection. Take those pictures. Don't worry about buying equipment. Use your phone. Our phones' cameras are pretty good at this point where we can just take them on our phones, which I've shown you guys how I've taken pictures on my phone when I first started out. It's a super old video that I think is terrible quality video, but it's still up there. And I showed you how I do the pictures. Tripod. If you don't have a tripod, find a box that you can sit up and stand your phone in, as long as you don't break your phone. If you know someone that can take your pictures for you, have them take them. Just find a blank space in your home so there's not too much distraction in the background. Take those pictures. You can go out places. Try to set up a scene of where they would normally wear their outfits to. Let's say brunch. You go take pictures at brunch in the clothing that you're selling, in your samples. Take those type of pictures. Whatever. You have to find your theme. So of course, like I have this fun, flirty, feminine brand that I'm starting right now with my Shewin product. So I don't really want to go to a sports bar and take the picture because it doesn't really fit the theme. It's probably going to be dark. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic that I have. So think about that when you're doing it, but also remember the focus needs to be on the product. Make sure you're well put together. Actually put those outfits together, accessorize them, really dress them up how the customer would wear it. They need to see how they would wear that product. Now just make sure, even if you're taking them on your phone, it might not be professional quality, but you want to make sure the pictures look as professional as possible. For example, if you guys are familiar with Poshmark, it's a platform where you can resell products. Some of those people would just throw product on their bed, take a picture, things like that, just to show it because they're trying to get rid of something out of their closet. Those pictures from Poshmark, they're fine for Poshmark. Would I recommend you using those type of pictures on your website? No. Like if I show you guys Poshmark pictures versus a professional website pictures, you see the difference. Which one do you really want to buy? So you want to try to get as professional as possible, but of course we're tight on a budget, we're limited on our resources, so we are still doing it ourselves, so it may not look as professional as this, but you can still get as close as possible to this. Don't just take pictures on your bed of product or on the floor and you can tell like there's dust and things on your floor, because more than likely I see that chances are I'm not as likely to buy from you. I need to entice you to buy, so those pictures are going to matter. Do as best as you can. If I have to do a video showing you guys again how to do those pictures, I will do an updated video. But that's the next step, is the photo shoot. For those of you that are just drop shipping and you don't have the budget to actually buy the samples and you're just going to import the Shewin product, then you obviously would be skipping this step. But if you can, I highly encourage you to take your own pictures, because just imagine how many people are just pulling those same pictures from Shewin. Now all your websites are starting to look the same, or Shewin's pictures may not fit your aesthetic. So if you can, please buy the samples, take your own pictures. You have a higher chance of selling it when people see it's your product and not just a picture you took off someone else's website. So now that we've done our photo shoot, fake it till you make it step number 9. This is going to be to actually list those products on there. We already created our website layout. Everything's all ready to go. All we have to do is import our pictures and the product. So once you do your photo shoot with those samples you have, the next thing to do, if you are going to be one that's going to ship your own products, you're now going to buy your inventory. Now you can get everyone excited that the inventory is on the way, because you've already been marketing your brand and starting to build up your customer base. So you let them know product is on the way. You can do a pre-order if you want to let them know it'll be here by this date. You can start pre-ordering, and as soon as the inventory arrives, you ship it. If you're drop shipping and you're not buying inventory, you're going to obviously skip this step. But then once your inventory is on the way and you received it, of course you're going to launch your website, and now you're done. Your website is there. You're now officially a business owner. Now from here you just have to continue marketing so you can continue to grow. And as you start receiving sales and making money, that's when you add on. So if you didn't have a mannequin, you can now buy a mannequin. If you couldn't pay for professional photo shoots, now that you're actually selling and making money, you can pay for those professional photo shoots. That is why I say fake it till you make it. We're doing what we can in this time, but as we start making our money, we're going to grow, because now this is real. This is not fake anymore. Or at least it was never fake. We were just doing what we can to get to where we needed to be. Now for those of you that haven't registered yet, I advise you to go ahead and register your business once you start making your money. As soon as you start making that first, second sale, use that money to go ahead and register your brand name. So that way you are now documented. It is truly legitimate. Of course, if you can do it at the beginning, yes, I do encourage you to do it at the beginning, but not everyone can. So when I created Fashion Formula 101, I mentioned to you guys that it's easier for me to work with you one-on-one versus me telling you step by step on these videos and giving you those generic steps, because everyone's situation is different. So I would actually have to get to know you and your situation to really give you the steps that you need to take your business, because everyone's going to be different. I can give you those generic steps and I can keep giving them to you, and then it's up to you to be able to alter those steps to fit your situation, but not everyone can do that. So for me to truly give you step by step on what I recommend you do, I will have to know your true situation. So some of you may register at the beginning, some of you may have to wait, some of you may go through all this and realize that this is not for you, this is too much hustling that you have to do, and that's just not who you are, and you may just drop it all and not even proceed with this, but at least you didn't waste the money registering. This is like a test. Fake it till you make it. So this is for you to figure out what's best for you. Now once you get to that point of your growing and things like that, Shewin does offer customization, so you can then customize things, because if you haven't noticed, these products I have here, there's no labels, there's no tags. That's how they ship the product, especially if you're drop shipping. That's how your customer is going to get it. But they do offer customization, so if you want to start adding labels and tags and those type of things to your product, you can start doing that with them. Remember, they own their factories, so if you want to start doing your own designs too, so now you're not just buying what they have, but you want to take one of their designs and let's say we need to change the colors here, you want to alter something on the design, they have their factory so they can do that. Of course there's now going to be minimums that comes with that, but it's now possible, especially since you're growing, you're making money, now you're able to start affording those things. This is when you can start adding on those cute poly bags and the inserts that are going to go in with your product. We all didn't start out that way. I can tell you right now, when I started my business, I started out with the bare minimums and I just added on little by little until I got to where I am right now. And I still continue to make changes and alter my business to grow and make things more professional and to the level that I want it to be at. Don't think all of this happens overnight, because it doesn't. It'll take time. It can be years before you actually get to where you want to be. I will say to you, I'm actually glad that I started this way versus having everything done at the very beginning and launching this big business that I really didn't know much about, because I got to learn so much along the way. I was able to make my mistakes and it didn't really cost me too much of a loss because I didn't put too much into it in the beginning. I was able to make those mistakes, figure things out each step of the way, fix the mistakes that I make, and then move on to the next. So slow and steady wins the race, and that was truly the case for me. So I'm telling you, you can do this too. Go to Shewin.com, which I'll link down in the description box. Start strategizing the products that you want to sell, and then go from there. Oh, and the one thing that I didn't mention at the beginning of this video, this is for everyone, because I know I have a lot of you guys that are not in the US that watch me, which I truly appreciate you all. Shewin does ship worldwide, so this is not just for US based, this is for international too. You can have the product shipped to your country. So if this is how you have to start and then you alter as you need to, you guys can do this too. So I think I've done enough rambling in this video. Try to give you guys as much information as I can give you, because I know this is not easy. I know a lot of you are eager to start your business and you just don't know what to do next. Take these steps if you have to, and then alter it from there, grow from there, make those changes that you need. But it truly is possible. It's easy to do this with little to no money. $120 got me 6 samples. You can split those payments using Klarna, and that's what, $30 per payment. So if you got $30 every 2 weeks, you can do this. And then this is also something you can run while still working your full-time job until you get to a point that you're making enough money you don't need to work and you can quit your job. This is doable. It's possible. Just make sure your heart truly is in it, because it's going to require a lot from you as far as hustling to really get your name out there and making money. Sorry to those of you that feel like this might have been too harsh with the way I said some of the things, but I gotta be raw with you guys. I gotta keep it real with you. That is me. That's who I am. I can't be any other way. But that's it for this week's video. Thank you guys for watching.